In this video, I'm going to be sharing my top 6 tips on how to become a better 3D artist. What's going on, you 3D modeling beasts? This is Mussi, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing my top 6 tips on how to become a better 3D artist. So this video is actually based on advice that I gave my students in the last weekly Q&A session in my hard surface modeling course. We actually do 10 weekly Q&As, and these go on for a couple hours each week. So I really get to know their individual struggles, and a lot of this advice that I gave them was specifically tailored towards them, because that's kind of one of the great things about spending so much time with my students is I really get to know them on an individual basis. But I actually kind of stepped back and really just thought about the advice that I gave, and I wanted to give it out to you guys as well, because most of this advice is actually suitable to a lot of you guys, and it was actually been suitable to me throughout my career as a 3D artist. Make sure to stick all the way to the end. The last piece of advice is actually based on a bad situation that I had in my past. So I think you guys will get a lot of value out of that. And I have great news about my Maya hard surface modeling course. I'm actually offering a free trial for a limited time, so check that out using the link down below. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. All right, so like I said, you guys came in the course, you guys shared information, and I pick up on things. First on the list is Mike, right? And I got this kind of specific advice for you. What you want to do as an artist is have this right now, how you feel. This is probably your best work. Your goal as an artist is going to be to make this your worst work. Like, what does that mean? Like, I like this, right? That's good, but you want to improve, right? So, and this is kind of goes to basically what artists do to improve their portfolios is you want to keep working where you weed out those weaker pieces, only the strong survive, right? And that's kind of your job as an artist, like make this your worst piece, right? And you consider this a good piece. And over time, believe it or not, every piece that you do is gonna start, as artists, we kind of go through these patterns where we're excited for the work that we did. And then like 6 weeks, we learn more and we start kind of picking it apart, right? That excitement fades. You start looking at it like, okay, now I know a little bit more about texturing, about lighting, a little bit about modeling. So, just keep that in mind. That should be your goal. And really, I say this is because you mentioned about the block out, right? You said, man, I was struggling with the block out. And that's like, I can knock that out, very, very quickly now. Now you kind of went through and completed this pretty fairly difficult project very efficiently, right? And then that should be kind of your goal. Like this good project that you have now, your goal should be to outdo it, right? And eventually make this your worst project on your portfolio. So does this kind of make sense? Is it too deep for you, Mike? Is it?
Nope. I say I modeling the bike was irrelevant. It could have been anything. It was nice that you picked something that was familiar to everybody. Put so much time in that I'm starting to look at objects in polygons. It's like, how many cylinders could I build a water bottle in and stuff like that. I just needed something to get me kick-started, and this was it. And I was actually a waiter in a fine dining restaurant. I got laid off because of COVID. And I've been wanting to be an artist for 2 decades. So I'm like, I gotta get to this. I gotta get going. I also know that, I wasn't feeling very well a couple of weeks ago and took like 2 days off. And when I got back on, I was a little bit sketchy. So I'm like you said, don't take a month off. I'm going to continue to model, just bulldoze through it and grind through it, because being so new to these skills, you're going to lose them real quick too, unless I, put them to use. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
Next on the list, Dion, don't be scared to fail. And what the reason I say that is because I asked you guys earlier what you guys thought about the course, and you mentioned that you overthink things, right? And you kind of in your head about your mistakes. And I think sometimes failing at something, even though like think that's why maybe we overthink it. You know, we do a lot of thinking and not enough doing, right? And I'm guilty with that too. You know, don't be scared to fail. Like even with this course, like that's why I do updates for this course, because I find that technically, like I didn't explain something where I learned something new, right? And I want to kind of clarify that and give you guys the best way of doing that. If you find yourself like, man, I've been thinking about this thing for 2 days now, like just jump in mine and try it. And if it doesn't work, try another way, right? And I think taking this course, you'll have kind of like more options, if that makes sense. And I think that's why sometimes we get in our head. It's just that feeling that we don't want to fail, or maybe we're scared of it, and I think once we kind of have that fear, I think it manifests itself with us overthinking things, and we find ourselves thinking more than actually doing.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
That hits the nail right on the head. That hits the nail exactly right on the head, 100%. Everything I've been planning a lot of stuff for this course with everything I learned, and even going forward, I know I want to do the substance course. That's why I've been kind of on it because I'm actually trying to be like a rapper, so I'm trying to make like really kind of high fidelity music videos, stuff like that. So I think this course is kind of what's going to separate me. So yeah, that's my plan right now, and I think
cool, that man. Well, you know, if you need a hype man, I'm voting Helen, because her facial expressions are just gold. I mean, you just drop 2 lines and you know, just she'll have the face for you. So I'll be the background dancer if you want, man. If you need somebody in the background.
Thank you. But yeah, this course has really helped out a lot in terms of my like confidence as an artist. Like more, I've had a couple art teachers before this, and a couple. I had one 3D teacher. I had like a production teacher, because I come from like a film background and a theater background. And I've had a drawing teacher, and everybody else kind of pales in comparison to like, you know, the quality of this course. So I really kind of commend you on that. So I appreciate everything, man.
I appreciate it, man. And you know, I'm glad this just kind of helped on a lot of different levels. And you know, just don't forget about us little people when you go double platinum. So make sure I get a shout out in your next record.
You got it, man. You got it.
So Ronan, this is you're up next. So I think with you is, you know, like confidence is key, and I say that because, you know, I remember you saying at one point you were afraid of like, you know, when you finished the course, or maybe you didn't have me on your side, or you know, you didn't have kind of a game plan or videos, you know, what will you do? And I kind of see that, and that was a couple weeks ago, and then kind of with testimonial, and I see your confidence just grew in your ability, right? And that's why I always talk about confidence, because it is important, but like I was telling Helen, you got to balance it out, because confidence, the right confidence, comes from experience and the ability to execute on something and knowing how to do something. And that's kind of really why, you know, if you have an experience, and now you guys had a lot of experience, so your confidence is obviously going to grow, because you're going to know, like, yeah, I think I could do this on my own next time. And that's kind of the point of this course, is not to just model bike, but just to model anything hard surface. And I think you got it, Ronan, and you kind of grew into the beard and the warrior name. So, you know, I'm proud of you, man. And, you know, I think I just see it in you, that your confidence definitely grew. So I'm stoked about that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You know, this goes for, you know, CJ and Thomas. You know, CJ, you have ADHD. You shared that with us. If you guys are not aware what that is, it is a learning disability. It makes things harder to learn. And, you know, 3D modeling is not the easiest thing to learn, right? So, and, you know, I've seen the work that you've done. You just pushed through it, you know, and you went to school. It wasn't that great for you, and I could definitely relate. You know, I share that story. You pushed through that, and you kind of said, hey, you know, I have this going on, but that's not going to stop me. I have this learning disability. I went to school. It wasn't that great. I didn't get a lot out of it, and I'm still pushing, right? So you pushed through adversity. And same thing with you, Thomas. You know, you said you got laid off work, and you still managed the way to, you know, pay for Maya, right? You got the indie license. you paid for this course. You know, it's not the greatest time for everybody financially. And you made that commitment, and you said that my situation now is not going to stop me from learning. And in a way, you guys are rewarded, right, with these skill sets. And from what I'm taking it, you know, you guys felt that this was the right decision taking this course. So I commend you guys on just, you know, pushing through adversity.
You are a very, very generous people in your teacher style. And I talk with my brother. I said how I am so lucky. I meet such a generous teacher. Teacher everything, lots of things is the experience he used lots of time to accumulate. So you teach all of us, teach so many knowledge for us. I just want to thank you.
You're welcome, and you know I don't hold anything back. You know, even some of the videos that are not more popular, I try to teach you guys about business, stocks, really just everything that, you know, I kind of know, and the knowledge I built, and, you know, and even life experiences, because, you know, 3D and learning a package is cool, but I know this for a fact, is if you can't make money with something, if you can't make it financially work, you're eventually going to give up on it and get a 9-to-5. All right. So whether that's why I talked about passive income. That's why I talked about, you know, other ways of making money besides VFX and video games. That's why I talk about different strategies of just making it work. You know, and I'm somebody that took a different path, and, you know, I'm teaching. I started doing YouTube, and now, you know, you guys are supporting me. So like I made it work in a completely different way. You know, put your stuff out there, you know, put content out. That's why I tell, you know, people things that might not necessarily help me, because, you know, at the end of the day, I made money selling, you know, 3D models online. Selfishly, is it the best, you know, is it beneficial to me that, you know, more 3D artists are doing it? Probably not. Where I'm at in my life, and this is kind of why I do, is I just think about legacy, like just bigger than me, like helping people. When you help people, it just kind of comes back to kind of in the position I'm in. I'm not like, you know, saying that, I guess, to brag but like a lot of people just reach out to me like, hey, they see me on YouTube, it is what it is, they reach out, and, you know, I talk to a lot of artists, and, you know, some artists kind of go through that. It's like, yeah, you know, I have this, but I don't want anybody to copy me. And it's like, nobody's gonna copy you, man. Just put it out there. Like that hinders so many people, that fear of like, what if they copy me, and I just think it's low confidence. Like, you know, I put everything out there. You know, like, do this, like make YouTube videos, make content online. Like I'm doing it. If you do it, you'll be competition to me. But at the end of the day, I'm just here to help people, like something bigger. And, you know, if you help people, it's just gonna come back to you. Like you guys wanna, you know, you wanna rap Dion, you know, whatever business you wanna do is like bring value to people, and it's just gonna come back to you tenfold. Don't, you know, pick and choose of, you know, if I give out too much, they're gonna copy me. They're gonna take my shine or my money or, you know, my clientele. You know, I go on Facebook groups that don't let artists post their YouTube or social media links. You know, just think about that for a second. Like, they build a platform and a community, but you can't put a link to promote yourself. And I've been in groups like that, and it pisses me off. Like, I've had, you know, some of my groups, this group, as a matter of fact, you know, you guys posted links to other courses, and I left them there. Like, I don't, you know, like, that's somebody else. Like, if you guys want to take somebody else's course, I'm not gonna moderate that. You know, that's just low self-confidence in my opinion, right? It's like, why do that? I'm just here to help people, you know, and a lot of people kind of get it twisted, in my opinion. Whether it's a knowledge thing, like I'll give out a little bit of knowledge, but I'm not gonna give it all, you know, or whether it's just, you know, trying to stifle whatever you deem as competition. You know, so if you guys want to build something bigger than yourselves, just give freely, you know, give, and it's just gonna come back to you. From a level of 1 to 10, how do you feel your momentum with 3D modeling right now? Put it in the chat right now. After going through this course, how you're feeling, just momentum in your 3D modeling. Let me see what you guys have. Cool. All right, so looks like everybody put either a 9 or a 10. That's kind of to be expected. And this kind of goes to, I guess, somewhat of a life lesson here, is that, keep it going. You guys feel the momentum because you made progress, right? You guys stuck to something, and whether it was me taking the course, or maybe if you didn't take the course, but you just grinded it out. Maybe it would have been a longer grind. Some of you would have eventually got there. But regardless of the fact is, you guys made progress, and now you guys have momentum. And the key here is to keep the momentum going. After this course, don't take a month break like, hey, I know how to model that. Keep it going. Momentum is something that you guys need to appreciate, and it can be lost. We're artists at the end of the day. Things can happen in your life that's just going to derail you. It could be relationships, COVID's out, lost a job, family, friends, a lot of bad stuff, is going around. I'm gonna tell you guys, like, there's been points in my life where, my art was going good, but my life wasn't. I graduated college back in like 07, 08, and I don't know if you guys kind of know what was going on at that time, but that was pretty much the whole housing collapse. The world was pretty much in a recession, and anytime that you're out of college and you're looking for a job and a recession hits, it's hard alone just to get a job. As far as an artist, like on a normal economy, I went to a public 4-year school. First, I went for 3D animation. The program was so bad that I actually switched to graphic design. My first animation class, all we did was storyboarding, and then we probably touched Maya for like a week. I worked on these storyboards like really, really hard, and I go to my last class just to submit everything. I just want to see what all the students did, and there was a sign on the doors like, drop your, at the time it was CDs, and pretty much you burnt your information on a DVD. The little flash drives were starting to come out, but they were expensive. But it just says drop your project off on this box and enjoy the rest of your summer. And I'm like, damn, that sucked, because that kind of like crushed my spirit, and that made me want to switch to graphic design. But I always kind of felt like, even though I like graphic design, and I still do graphic design to a certain degree, I didn't let that stop me, and I went back and I took more classes. When I graduated, I didn't have the best skill set. I just kind of kept learning on my own, but I didn't really have a good foundation. I just kept learning, and I had a decent enough portfolio to get me in the studio. Piggybacking off that, we kind of had the recession going on in 2008. A lot of people weren't hiring. My skill sets weren't that great, but I was kind of just scrambled, and I put something enough that was good. And I also had like a lot of medical issues. Like, I actually had to get an operation on my neck because I was having like headaches at the time. And it was a tough time for me, and this is kind of what I said, like, appreciate that momentum, because things in your life can go wrong and you could lose it as quickly as you gained it, right? Keep pushing your art. Just value that momentum. I know sometimes we just like, okay, cool, I took this class, but just that feel good moment, if you keep pushing at it and keep making progress, and that's kind of the funny thing about, progress and momentum. Like, the more progress you make, it gives you momentum, and then the more momentum you have, the more progress you're going to have. Kind of those things kind of working in a circle. You're going to make, you're going to just learn quicker, right? Like, you guys were able to learn quicker in this course. And now you know all this stuff that you didn't know before, and now you got a bunch of confidence, right? And having that confidence is really the key to just, being able to apply for that job, or, not overthink things, and just really go out there and crush it.